Today I want to talk to you about how to prepare for your upcoming custody or visitation hearing. Before we begin, I just want to give a disclaimer that this is not legal advice. This is just general information, and that you watching this video does not constitute an attorney-client relationship. That being said, if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to answer general questions. If you want to schedule a free consultation, I will leave my phone number in the description box below. Feel free to call that number and schedule your own free consultation. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to find out what is actually going to occur during the upcoming hearing. Different counties throughout California do different things on different days. For example, in San Francisco, the first day of your custody hearing is actually going to just be a day where you meet your judge, and the judge schedules you a mediation session with the court's mediator, and then you go to an orientation where another mediator, or it could be the same one you're going to have, discusses some important things to keep in mind during mediation and the importance of co-parenting. And then that day you get scheduled for a backup hearing date in case you don't agree during mediation. So you want to find out, you want to make sure that you are clear that the day you're going to court, your matter is actually going to be heard. And it's not just some preliminary hearing where more housekeeping type issues are dealt with. That being said, you want to make sure that you have filed a declaration explaining what your goals are for the hearing to the judge and why you want the things that you're asking for. If you're wanting 50-50, then you want to explain why you think that's in your child's best interest. You always want to bring it back to the child's best interest, because that is the standard that judges use in California. If you think, so my first tip is, make sure that you paint a really clear picture with your words in a declaration explaining how great of a parent you are and how much fun and how much enrichment your child gets from you. It could be, here's what we do on an average day. You can include pictures as exhibits. Look how much fun we're having at the park. Things of that nature. You can include pictures of you reading to your child. Include pictures of you meeting with the child's tutor or going to the child's baseball game. Paint a picture and use exhibits for the court. What you want to not do is throw the other parent under the bus unless it's based on fact. Just saying that you don't think that the parent is a good parent is not enough to move the court. What you want to do is specify why you think that parent is not a good parent, and throwing them under the bus in general terms is not going to work. You have to say, look, I found this picture of them on Facebook where they're doing drugs, or, they're holding a firearm, to show off on social media, things of that nature. And you also, you don't want to just badmouth them. You want the facts to speak for themselves. So, I have concerns because of X, Y, and Z, and then you include evidence, you include pictures or screenshots of text messages that show X, Y, and Z. That is a far stronger argument than, I hate their guts, they're a horrible person, and they should go to hell. Right? Like, that's not going to be powerful enough. It has to be founded on facts. And you really need evidence to back up what you're saying. If you have issues because they're on drugs, the court also wants you to come up with a solution. You know what, Your Honor, how about if the other parent just does some supervised visitation and then does, like a intensive outpatient substance abuse program, or, until the other parent can show the court 6 months worth of clean your analyses, things like that. The courts really appreciate when you as the parent can come up with solutions to the problems, to the issues that you're raising. So those are the things that you'll want to put in your declaration and try to back them up with evidence if you have it. It's not going to be enough to just show up at court and say, this person's on drugs, drug test them. That gets a little messy because there's some constitutional rights in there, and you have to have evidence that shows, here is the person's social media post where they're boasting about selling narcotics, or whatever the case may be. If you want to also explain in your declaration your housing and the other parents' housing. That's especially relevant right now, I think, in places like San Francisco and the Bay Area, where we're sort of experiencing what some would call a housing crisis. Housing is so expensive that a lot of parents can only afford like a 1 or 2 bedroom. And this means that children might not always get their own room. And what a court really wants to see is if the child is a little older, they want privacy for that child. And that doesn't mean that the child has to have their own room if you can't afford it. Something like one of those Japanese screens, that folds and unfolds, or, a curtain that separates a room into 2 rooms, something like that, can really go far. You also the child needs a healthy place to sleep, either their own bed, preferably, if they're older than like 2 or 3, they really need to be sleeping in their own bed, not with you, and not with a sibling. Although I think, because of the scarcity of housing, judges are getting a little bit more lenient about things like that. But if the other parent brings up your housing as an issue, you want to refute that by showing pictures of just how amazing your housing is and what you have done to address the issues the other parent brings up. And that's actually true of all issues that the other parent brings up. You want to address those issues in your declaration, explain what you've done to correct them or why they are not true, and then include exhibits for that. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comment section below. If you want to schedule a free consultation, please call the number in the description box. This video has basically been about how to prepare for your custody visitation hearing. I can do another video about what to expect during your custody visitation hearing in another video, because we're already getting kind of long on this one. So feel free to ask any questions, and I wish you the very best in your custody visitation endeavors.